Good morning, traders. This is Trader Cisco of Euodoo Trading. Thought I'd provide a little bit of a commentary this morning for December 17th. It is just prior to the London Open, and the Euro has an announcement that's going to be coming out affecting Germany in about an hour and a half. The IFO numbers will be coming out, and it looks as if the euro dollar is showing just a bit of indecision. Um, Moving up into that. We're looking at a 4-hour candle close here based on the Fibonacci levels. I'm not convinced yet on whether it's going to open above that level or not. Even if we make some adjustments to the Fibonacci's based on different time frames, you'll notice that we may be here actually having a pullback off of the 618. Or if we even move it up to this level, we see a lot of the same thing, except the pullback now is off the 5.0. So I'm kind of interested to see what's going to happen with this pair. I don't have a real good peg on it. My overall bias on this pair is still that we are in an overall downtrend. We spoke about the ABCD formation a few weeks ago, and I'm still pretty biased on that point until we see something that's really going to change the view. And so what that means is, look, we've got that measured move. If we pull that measured move down, we see that it matches up pretty much again yet here. And so if that move were to continue, well, we see where it comes down to these levels that we had before down in the 26.50 range. So that's kind of my view still going forward on the euro dollar. Of course, that's a long-term view. Of course, it's not something that I expect to happen today or maybe even next week. But my overall view is that this bias will continue down. Now, the pound dollar is something that a pair that I'd really like to discuss. This trend line here is something we spoke about last week. And the fact that I felt pretty strongly that once we broke through that level that we would come back and retest it. I feel that that verifies that for sure. But I've drawn a second trend wall here, and interestingly, we have bounced off of that. We're looking at the daily chart. What I want to kind of show you is where that line originates, because I think it provides a little more insight on what the market's doing right now. If you come back to this is May 20th, is where this trend wall starts. One of the nice things about a trend wall is that we have not only does it start here, but it touches here and here. That gives us 3 points on that trend wall. That's always pretty good validation that the trend wall is one. To me, it validates it, meaning that it is a trend wall worth acknowledging. And then when you see what happened yesterday, you will note that that's exactly where that trend wall was addressed. So as we dropped down, and obviously we had a bounce off of that line. So we are now, in my opinion, in this range for cable, and it's something of note to me that shows you where the market is moving. There's also something else that I want to show you, very interesting, at least to me, on the 4-hour chart, and that's the moves that have happened within. Now I like to talk a lot about the kiss your mama, or really just the verification where it comes back to validate levels. If we are to start drawing off of this low that we had here on November 30th, that low being a 54.83, there's a few interesting things that come to mind, and that's when you draw these different trend lines. So if we draw it off of this point here, you'll notice that when the pair broke through, okay, so we're looking at this point, and these 2 points, that once the pair broke through, it came back to retest that level before the next drop happened. So with patience, you could have hit this level here for the drop. Let's do it again. Drawing off the same level and using these points right here, we have the same situation where it came back after hitting this level. It came back to retest it and then dropped again. We can do it one more time. Draw it off of this, and using this point, You'll notice that we haven't came back to that line yet, but I think that it's very possible that we would come back and retest this level for another drop. So these points are just giving you ideas of what can occur when you do have a downtrend, that the market will come back to retest those levels and give you maybe opportunities for more than one entry. The interesting thing was, as we go back and look at that daily chart, that we may have had this as our initial entry here, but we may have been looking for additional opportunities in the market. Not only did we have the 5.0 fib, but we had that trend wall. So maybe that was your first entry. So now you may be looking for opportunities to continue to add on or build your position. And then what you start seeing is these opportunities where the market breaks through, comes back. Yes, it's also a fib level, but then you have this trend wall. Okay, so now here's a second opportunity to add to my position. And then here would become a third opportunity. So what I'm just trying to show you is that the market does provide us with additional opportunities where we can get in or continue to build a position as we're watching an overall move occur. Moving on, the pound yen. Just this chart just basically shows us that we are in a wedge position. No real surprise for the time year that we're in. The euro yen, I think you're seeing something fairly interesting here. This is a 4-hour chart on the euro yen. And what I basically see is that we're continuing to not be able to break through this level. This current 4-hour candle, even though it did pierce it, we see that it's pulled back off of that pretty well. And it is of note to me that we have, though we had some movement above the 5.0 fib, we broke through it. Now we tried to come back and address that level along with it being a trend wall. And obviously it's not it currently not able to break through that level. So to me that would really provide some type of a bias that we should be moving short. This area here, this 110.90, is obviously going to be a fairly strong level in my opinion, with the moving average there also along with it being a fib level. But I think that range there is very possible. So we'll see what continues to occur there. The Audi yen is a little bit interesting in the sense that we broke through a level here that was based off of a high from November 22nd. We broke through, and now we've really come back, and we're just setting on that same level right there of 8,300. That level is very strong, but we seem to be staying above that level. So it's going to be an interesting place for individuals that would have a continued long bias. That could be a fairly strong stop area somewhere just below that 8,300 level. Just something that I'm observing in the market. We had been talking a lot about the Kiwi and how it had a wedge that finally got broke through. I would be looking for opportunities to short based on somewhere in this level, the 74.80 level, maybe even a little bit higher. But I think this cross right here is a real interesting position that it could occur next week for an opportunity to short. So keep your eye on this area right in here, as I think this could definitely get hit next week. The euro pound we spoke about, just the fact that it was inside this wedge area, and sure enough it has clearly stayed within that level. We talked about this 5.0, the 85.40 area being a target last week, and it was hit, and so far we're staying within this range. A new chart that I haven't really talked about yet on the videos is this Euro Chef. I know some of the traders like to trade it. Something interesting here is just strictly from a price action standpoint. You're looking at a daily chart. You'll notice that we had a low here from September 8th, and that low was 27.64, and we are now breaching through that level. I think it'd be interesting to keep an eye on this for next week, that if we do get a close below that level, then I'll be watching for it to validate that level, come back and kiss that level before taking off. Now it's just going to have to wait to see how it plays out today, with it being Friday, whether we do get a close here, which should give us a weekly close below that level, or whether we will end up pulling back up and getting back into that range. So these are the things that I'm watching this week. I hope you have a great day. Look forward to talking to you again next week.